Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It's Saturday, the 21st of January. 21st already. Wow. The year is going really, really fast, which is quite good because this time of year is kind of crap for me as far as astrophotography goes. It's very short night, so we don't have that much of a night sky. Thanks, Scott. I was just saying to the other guys, it can't be time to go on yet because Scott hasn't, had his little "you're running late" TikTok sort of message. This morning, this afternoon, wherever you are, we're going to talk about some time lapses, and I'm just going to show you what we're going to see. Now you get the idea of what we're doing here, and this is all shot on the iPhone, and it's not using the iPhone time lapse in the camera. It's using a totally different method, and we'll talk about why we're using that method and why we're using this method, not that method, and the process in which we'll do it. First, though, I'll bring on Macro McMillan to say g'day. G'day, Greg.
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm all right.
That's the spirit.
Not bad.
Dave from
Friday
across
afternoon.
the ditch. Saturday morning. And
that's the
so
joys
it's 2
of
o'clock,
the
isn't
internet.
it? Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly right. 2
the joys
p.m.
of the internet. You can talk to tomorrow or yesterday.
Oh, exactly.
At the same time.
I've got. I'm doing a online tutorial for these folks in Western Australia, and they're a different time zone to where I am on the East Coast. Well, not on the East Coast, but in the Eastern States. And I'm going backwards and forwards like, is that time my time or your time? Am I going to sit there ready to present something and wait around for 2 hours? Anyway.
Yeah.
So there's Dave from across the ditch and Dwight from California.
Yes.
Steve, there's a few
Dwight
people
Broman. Hey, Dwight.
Dwight Roman?
Dwight Broman.
Oh, Broman. Does it say something different on what you're looking at, does it?
I see Dwight B from California.
How do you know it's Dwight? How do you know it's Broman?
Because I know Dwight.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Right. How did you know that? Are you looking at something different? We're mates. So, any news from you, mate? How's things? What's the podcast doing?
Okay, so as you any listeners would know, we've tried.
Oh no, we've lost Greg.
What?
Your sound is gone. Oh no, there you are again.
Oh, okay.
I just lost
Starlink. That'll be that latency. Anyway, so if anybody's been listening to the podcast, they know that I've been trying to, Dave and I tried something different. We put out, instead of an episode every 2 weeks, we broke it into a half episode and did it every week. We tried that for, I think, 3 different full episodes. So it was like 6 weeks or whatever. And we do this segment called Our Recent Photos, where we talk about the pictures we've been taking, and we try to give insight on, our thought process and editing and all that stuff. just to kind of be as a bit of a learning tool for people and
Mhm.
who want to know how to do stuff or whatever. And I think the play count metric kind of went down a little bit. If
Mhm.
you had even like if you put the two together to make the one full show, the play count was less than it was when it was all one.
Yep.
So the last one that came out, I just released it all as one again, and we're going to see if that
Okay.
doesn't, pick. And maybe it was a bad time to do that because we tried that over the holiday season.
Yep.
So that's probably a time when people may not have the opportunity to listen to as many podcasts or whatever. But um,
Mhm.
it was a test. We tried it. We'll see how it goes now that we've gone back to the normal thing. But um, I'm really into this ICM stuff, this intentional camera movement, and that's what the last show was all about.
Yeah,
It's
I didn't think that's what it was called, mate.
yep,
I
intentional
didn't think
camera
that's what
movement.
wasn't it like, intentional Canadian mind
Oh, well, that's the Australian way of saying it.
You should explain that because it's a very much an in joke.
Yeah, yeah. In our Bloody Legends Facebook group admin chat that we have on Facebook Messenger, I had mentioned something about the ICM, and then of course, Mr. Mostyn says
What?
internet. What do you call it? International Canadian
Mind.
Mind Beat. Oh,
Well,
it's good fun.
'cause he posted this photo that was well. Actually, could you share one or not on my feed?
Uh,
Because I'm just loading up time lapses at the minute.
yeah.
It's
Which one are you
basically
talking about?
any one of them, any of the ones that with my mind.
Oh, okay. Oh, here's a good one.
Oh, morning, Mario. Well, guten Tag. Is that right? Guten Tag.
Now, let's
Is that
see
right?
here.
Or am I just making an idiot of myself more than usual? Reese from Tennessee. Reese was on here last time, I think. Yeah, it was Reese. Andy Green, how's that? Morning, afternoon, evening. Oh, it's too confusing.
There, you can see that.
Yes. I'll get rid of that comment just quickly. So explain what that is, dude.
So what that is to do this ICM stuff, you have to do a long exposure. So and I've come to terms with the fact that I'm calling it long exposure sequence on the iPhone now because it's not a long exposure,
Mm-hmm.
it's a sequence of exposures to make a long exposure. So anyway,
That's
I'm
a good term. I
finding
like that.
I'm doing in reflex, I'm doing about anywhere from a 5 to a 7 second sequence where for this one here, I just walk around this tree doing the sequence or whatever, and then I try to keep the tree in the same spot in the frame all the time, and then this is the result. And of course, I did the edit in black and white. So this is on a beach or at a campground, really. There's a beach down by the water there. The dark gray in the middle of the frame, that's the water, and then the sky above and all that. And the ground was just very, very lightly covered with snow. And then when I did the edit, I just made it kind of high contrast and really lightened
Mm-hmm.
up the lights and darkened down the shadows. And it's got this kind of the tree itself has like a twisty look to it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it looks like it's going down a drain.
Yeah,
But
it
that's
does.
the
So
nice
this
thing
is
about ICM is that you can make your own story up in the photo. No matter what you see, you can make your own story out of it.
mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's pretty cool.
This is kind of like um, a merged hyperlapse almost. With the
Yeah,
hyperlapse, you're moving with your time lapse and focusing onto this subject maybe, and then
yeah,
stacking it all together, kind of like that. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah. It's
like
pretty cool stuff. It's fun to play with.
yeah. Devo's in the house.
There
Oh,
he is.
Devo also says giraffe. And That's also an in-joke. And I honestly don't even remember where this started, but it's got legs.
I can't remember, but it's just been going for months.
I'm going to need a bloody translator for what Mario's saying now. That's yes. Good is good, I guess. Maybe.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Yes. Good. I don't know what the SCHR is. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to look at it later, and if it's like abusive to me, I'm going to have to message you. So today we've got today's guest is. Do you want to introduce him? You can call him whatever you want to call him. Right now, he's laughing. I can say.
Yeah, I bet he is. Okay, we have with us today, live and in person from parts unknown, Mr. Kirk Hammett. Yeah.
Hey guys. Welcome.
Also known as Dale Lotherington.
Yeah.
Oh, that bloke.
All the way from cloudy Newcastle.
Hey, there's a question I don't think I've asked you before, Dale. Do you surf?
No, I don't. That'd be really cool though. I'd love to learn how to surf. That'd be
Living where you do
cool.
and you don't surf.
I know, right? I body surf, like I body surf, which is great cool, but I'd love to learn how to surf one day. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's on the list.
Cool. Yeah.
Just keep your legs in one piece.
Yeah, I know. That might take a year or two to get there.
So how's it healing, mate?
It's been good. Yeah, look, I'm out and about. It's not fully back. It might take probably another year or two, I reckon, to really take time to heal properly. Sadly, breaks do that. They sometimes take years to properly heal or never heal. So it's more just getting used to it, managing the pain better. That's fine. It's good to get out and about now.
Drumming?
Yeah.
Has it affected your drum?
Well, the funny thing is I actually played a gig while I had my leg broken.
Oh, really?
So my foot broken. Yeah, well, we didn't want to postpone, and my dad came up and helped me be my roadie. So I played the gig and drank a lot of whiskey and got through it.
There you go.
It's only 40 minutes, whatever.
Did you do the whole Dave Grohl thing and put your foot up on a stool?
Yeah, really.
No, I played with it. Because it was only the hi-hat, because my left one, so it was pretty easy to manage.
Okay.
I just made Dad carry all the heavy gear with the crotches in. No one expects the guy on crotches to play drums. Crutches.
Look at this. This is somebody who didn't quite understand that comment. I've been surfing. I am like 4 hours, I reckon, from the nearest ocean. I don't surf. And Dale lives on the coast. That's why I was asking that.
Yeah.
You
Practically
said before,
right there.
There's not too many Dwights. The only Dwight I know is from, what's that TV show? The Office. So now I don't know what Dwight B looks like or what sort of person he is, but in my head that's Dwight. That guy is Dwight from The Office. Oh, apparently, yes, very good. I'd say thank you in German. I don't know any. I'm exhausted. Look at you go. You international man of ICM. So last time you came on, Dale, we spoke a lot about your star trails because you were stuck in your room and doing gazillions of star trails like all night sort of thing.
Absolutely.
And then you got a little bit bored and you threw some keyboards and did you do a toothbrush one time?
I did, just for fun. I thought it was suggested in the chat. I thought I may as well do the toothbrush. I only got an hour's worth, but good enough.
But since then, since like your broken hop has been fixed, you've been doing these very interesting time lapses. I was going to play another one, and I should have set that up better. And we'll just play through. You could talk through what you're doing here, like where you are and so forth.
This one's probably my hardest one. I've done that one recently. It's all continuous. So every single shot, I wish I could take it slower, but I did cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major roads. Well, 6 roads. So I had to plan it out, and my idea was I'm going to go from start to stop, and it was actually 51 minutes it took me. I timed it on the metadata, which is quite extreme to make this thing, but I didn't stop. So every single shot I took with even longer, I took 2 steps, aligned, had a fixated point, took a photo, moved 2 steps. So crossing roads were fun because you also don't want, you got to time it as well. So while you're approaching the road, you don't want to leave too much of a gap while you're waiting at the road because the clouds will just move in the time lapse if some of them do. But so you've got to really time it so that way every single snap is somewhat exactly the same time of the interval.
Yep. So
which is cool.
So you're taking a photo, taking 2 steps, taking a photo, taking 2 steps, taking a photo.
Absolutely, yes, that's my method. There's multiple ways to do time lapse, hyperlapse. I think you pinpointed at the beginning there the best way. I think the most official way people tackle it is by photos. For many reasons, you have normally you can use the full sensor on a mirrorless camera, so you can have a much bigger resolution. Gives you much more room to crop in. If you need to stabilize, you can crop that back in. You also have much more color correction tools. So you'll have full RAW. If you're shooting in RAW, you'll have the ability to color code it, and it will have so much more color information than a video file will. So you really have endless flexibility. The downside that I've kind of faced at the moment is not doing it on a tripod. So I'm running into a lot of trying to create motion blur in post by stabilizing it and by creating a little motion blur if possible. The best way is obviously on a tripod, but to get a shot like that, crossing a few roads on a tripod, it's probably not feasible. Not at that time of the busy hour. Maybe at 3 a.m. or something.
And you stop for every shot, right?
Every shot. So I take 2 steps, shot, and I have the grid. So one reason I don't shoot on Apple is the grid. They don't have the damn pinpoint grid, and Mario has developed even longer to have the multiple grids with the exact pinpoints. So I can pick up, because you always want to, when you want to move forward, you want to try and align that as best as you possibly can with a grid pattern. So you want to pick a fixated point, whether it be a top of a building, an edge, and you're always shooting exactly the same spot. So that way you can stabilize in post.
Yep. Similar to the same way you would do well, it is essentially a hyperlapse is what you're doing there.
Similar to that tree thing. I mean, but I guess the difference what you were doing is you were probably doing it in one long exposure, right, Greg?
Yes.
Instead of taking individual and then in Photoshop maybe merging them together.
Right.
So as you're doing this, because you obviously live in, like, Newcastle's a fairly big town.
Yeah.
And you're walking down the street, 2 steps, photo, 2 steps, photo, 2 steps, photo. What are people doing?
I've had a lot of people try and stop me. I did have to stop them as well because can't stop. So I can only go, well, I can talk to you while I pass here, but I'm doing a hyperlapse. I've had a few comments. People are excited about it. They're like, oh, I see you around, walking around endlessly, pointing at things. I don't know what you're doing. It's fun. It's like bizarre.
A mascot of Newcastle. Be like, where's that loghead bloke that takes the photos? Just walks around.
That's the aim. Is to find the aim really now is to practice, get better, and while practicing, focus on key parts or businesses in Newcastle. So therefore, I can tag them. Hopefully, they share, get exposure, and then eventually, it might be a paid job. I might approach them and say, "Hey, you loved my material. I'd love to make a really good one for you. Get your ideas and let's work out some cash."
It would be, I think, beneficial to you to start pushing it to the council as well.
And I have. So I've already had a few of my photos shared by the Newcastle Council. We've got a big Instagram page called My Newcastle, which is much bigger than the council's. And I've had a few of my shots, not hyperlapse or time lapse, but my still photos of long exposure around town shared, which is good.
Yeah, right. Cool.
Really nice.
There's a question here. Is that taking 2 steps, then use a single shot option?
It is, yeah. So I'm using the single shot option in even longer. That's a good point there, Andy. If you use the 1 second and no tripod, it's going to be blurry as.
So
yeah.
the roads everywhere are pretty much the same. Taking 2 steps across some of those roads, you're taking like
about 4. I would say 4 steps to get across. 2 steps, 4 shots to take it across a road. So you gotta take it.
Oh wow!
Very fast intervals.
So you're doing this in the middle of the day. There's obviously traffic around, and you can't.
Yeah, I'm trying
really
in the
stop
morning,
because
but
all
middle
the
of the day if I
clouds,
can. Yeah. Correct, exactly.
Oh,
You can't really leave. You got to try and make sure your intervals are as close as possible, because if they're not, you're going to see a cloud just choppily move across the sky, which is it's not good.
Wow. So, how many photos did you say was in that last one? You went for 50 odd minutes.
Yeah, I think there was like 600 or something there. So normally most time lapses I get anywhere from 300 to say 900. I think was one of my biggest ones. Yeah. And just like
you're shooting raw
little ideas. Shooting raw, full raw. Yeah.
What
in full manual mode. It's the iPhone 14 Pro Max.
So there's a bit of storage on there.
I upgraded actually. I had the old 256 back in the day, and nearly every day for photography, especially in RAW, I'd be taking all my files off, never keeping any messages, never keeping photos, never keeping. I got the terabyte now, but I'm still in that habit. I'm nearly reaching the capacity, so I got way more. So I think 10 terabytes of storage I purchased yesterday. So I'm going to offload all of that and use it as a bit more archive storage at home.
Right.
Because each day, I mean, the files are huge. I mean, once you put them into a ProRes video, that could be like 7 gigs.
That's right.
So you want to save it at the highest quality.
Of course. You've got 14 Pro Max as well, Greg?
Yep.
What size capacity?
I just went with a 256.
Yep.
And so I use iCloud, and I have 2 terabyte plan, and
it's not enough.
Never have any issues with the gazillions of apps on my phone. I never have issues with storage.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the downside to iCloud. They don't have enough storage for people like us that are going to go out and maybe do a star trail all night long. That might take maybe, I don't know what, a couple of gigs, maybe 5 gigs, 6 gigs of photos. With 2 terabytes it's 2 terabytes, is it?
Or 2 terabytes, yeah.
2 terabytes.
Oh, they're terabytes. I thought they were gigs.
Yeah, and I'm sharing that with my wife and my son and his wife.
Maybe they've changed it recently then. Okay. Interesting.
Well,
how much is that worth?
It's costing me, it's it's well, I got the Apple One premium thing, so I've got all their services built into one. It's like $36 a month.
Yeah.
The whole monthly costs is driving me nuts at the moment. It's I get why people do it. I totally get it. I agree with it. But as a consumer of the subscriptions, you look at it and you go, far out. These apps combined are costing me like $50 a month. It's crazy.
It does.
Anywho, Dale's is bigger than Greg's.
Look, if it's raw, it's all the data's there. Okay. All the same.
Look at this.
How you take the photos, not the
phone. He's a recent convert to iPhones, and he's pretty much every day, I reckon, he bitches about something about iPhones that Androids can do. Right now,
some of the new Androids don't have the SD card slot. Am I?
No, none of mine do. Anyway, none
old technology.
Actually, I don't know if the Huawei does. I don't know. I don't think so. If Patrika's on here, he can tell me if his one does. I'm just looking at this here. There's no SD card on this, unless you've got to pop the back off it. Anywho, so you've got 900 odd photos, say, in a time lapse. Going back to that, you bring them in. What do you do with them now?
Yeah, for sure. So my process has actually changed recently. I originally, when I started time-lapse, hyperlapse, I did quite a lot of research on what was the best software, what was the best methods of doing it, endless amounts of YouTube videos on how to do it. I always like to try and understand it completely before I even leave the house. My first process was editing everything in Neo, which is unfortunately slow. It's a great Luminar Neo, really good coloring app, but it's really slow, unfortunately, to export, especially 900 photos. So that might take like an hour to export. Once I've edited all those, I used to put it in another application called a Glue Motion, which was just like a $20 a Glue Motion. It was a $20 app, I think, on just the Mac Store for Mac OS, which is really good, and it's a really good application. But I did want to move to one called LR timelapse, level ramp timelapse, which you may have heard before. It's not Lightroom. He made sure to name it very particularly so he didn't get sued. But it does integrate quite well with Photoshop Lightroom. So the whole purpose is, I don't have Photoshop Lightroom, but the latest version has now allowed you to render directly from the application. It does have some downsides, so it does export in 709 rec, which means some of your clouds, you may have banding a little bit. If you push your faders a little too hard, you might create banding. But the plus side is, now that I've got that, at any point, if I did get Lightroom, I could just re-export all of my footage in full res, and it'd be there. So I'm really happy with that's my new process, and that does everything now. So instead of editing in Neo, going to Glue Motion, I can do everything from LR timelapse. It's really good. It has deflickering. It does really good for day to night, which is really cool. So you can shoot pretty much endlessly and whatever ISO, whatever shutter speed you want, and it will just set keyframes, and it will just magically go through, and you can do a day to night kind of fader as well, which it senses every single little tiny change, and it will guide it through smoothly, which is really cool.
How many of these would you say?
I'm trying to do, I'm on holidays now, soon to be off, but I'm trying to do maybe one a day or one every 2 days. It's a lot of work. It definitely takes like 2 hours, 3 hours to travel and take the photos, and then maybe another an hour or two to edit them all. It's a lot of work for 15 seconds, 5 hours or 6 hours. It's still faster than my old method though.
Oh, for sure. There are so many
like
times I look at like a YouTube video or like basically like what you do here, and I go, that's really cool. And you think about what went into it, and you go, bloody hell, that's taken a long time to make. And you'd be absolutely gutted. As I've got to reshoot a video, which I'll end up doing today. I shot the whole bloody thing just to I finished shooting it, come in and realized I had all my microphones set on mono. So I had great sound coming out of my right ear, and that was coming into my right ear. And you can switch it over to like dual mono and stuff. It just doesn't sound quite the same. But I ended up, I'm going to end up shooting into a bloody thing again, because it gave me the shit. I just like, this doesn't sound right. Anyway. So it's one of these things.
I think we all experience
there's a lot of work in there, but then come back and we've got to do it all again. Yeah, we do. We do.
I mean, yesterday I had that as well. I spent half an hour taking a time hyperlapse, and I realized I had shot all of them in JPEG. God damn it. So I was like, I'm going back. Start again. I bumped the damn raw button. All right.
There's the video, I'm just about to finish editing it now when I got off here with you guys, and when I finished doing it all, I thought I didn't shoot any of that in Pro Raw. But I thought, do I leave that or do I do it again? I thought, no, I'll leave that, because someone's bound to say you didn't shoot it in Pro Raw. It helps the algorithm. But on the other side of that, it wasn't about the photo. It was more about the light painting that I was using. So we shall see. I ended up deciding, no, I'm not going to do that. Just leave it as the JPEGs and we'll go. I just realized how I can show this photo, Greg, because I put it into that group.
Quickly, before we run out of that, Mario, can we get a lock on the formats in even longer? If you're here, if you're listening,
he's
Mario.
Here. He's listening.
That would save me from bumping it and turning it to JPEG. An idea. A wish list.
It'll be called the Lotherington Lock.
You'll need it, yeah.
It's right.
Only from the special version.
It's. I was talking to someone just the other day about the different companies that make software that we play with here, and when I was talking to Russell Brown a while ago about he's the Adobe guy. I was talking to him about I could go to someone like Mario or go to someone like the Reflex guys and go, I really want this, and if they think it's a good idea, within a week or two, it's like, bam, there it is, like the intervalometer. That's just freaking amazing. Yeah. And I said to him, to Russell, about the masking tool that you have in Lightroom Mobile now with the sky and the subject. It's bloody
like
amazing.
Like the auto masking.
Yeah. For the Astro stuff, you go like masks, add a mask, select sky. It does it all incredibly well. And I said, you need to be able to save that mask and put that photo directly into Photoshop. So it's all done right there. He's like, that's an amazing idea. So when can we expect it? He said, maybe 3 or 4 years. And he described it like the guys like Mario, they're in little speedboats and they can just react to everything. Whereas Adobe is like this big aircraft carrier that we're going to turn eventually.
It's like working with government services. It does so many steps, of course, to approve a new change where in their case, it's just one. Do I agree with it? Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have a meeting about it.
It's a good idea.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I'll see if I can get this photo up here. Show you guys. I can. Have a crack at that.
Yeah, that is cool.
Awesome.
This is a video it'll come out on Monday. It'll be out. But that there was using a totally different technique to what I normally do. This is just a native camera app, so it's a 30-second night mode photo on the 14 Pro Max, and it was the same method that I used for lighting my subjects with the DSLR, and it worked incredibly well. It worked so much better than what I thought it was going to work. So anyway, that'll be out very, very shortly. We're done with that. We haven't. Is Will in here? Maybe Will generally watches these things a little bit later. Will Newcomb. Wonder how his mother-in-law's doing. Yeah. I've got this parcel. No, I haven't seen him comment. I usually see him comment like a few hours later. So right now, in a few hours, he'll be watching this bit. Go, they're talking about me.
Yeah.
I got this parcel turn up the other day. I didn't actually know it was coming. I dare say, I don't know if David's in here or Ralph. Ralph might be in here, but they probably got the same thing. This thing turned up the other day. It looks like, now that I see it in the video feed, it looks kind of like some sort of biohazard secure.
Like a heart or something's in there.
Yeah.
It's not. It looks like a box from a computer game. Like you'd smash it open and fire it.
It's a loot box. Yeah.
A loot box. That's right. This box turned up the other day from Ulanzi, and it's got. So, Will, when you actually do get to this, what does that say? I need to know, and I need to know if this is going to demonetize me or not. Because I don't know what it is. It's the Chinese New Year, yeah? So they set this a frisbee, and they said this. They're making Oreos now. It seems. That's a
cookie pod.
A cookie. And to go on the cookie pod is a little phone holder that they said. So this is one of the few times that I go, I wish you guys live. Oh, actually, you do live close to Dale. I'll be sending some of this to you if you like. I've got a lot of stuff here that I could move on, and this lovely, colourful towel. It looks like it looks like there should be like 1,000 of these standing up in a square somewhere, marching to the beat of a drum. And a card that says "Thank you," and it's got my name and stuff on there, and tells about the New Year sort of thing, the Chinese New Year. Again, I don't know what that stuff is. Will help. And I won't even show you them because I really don't know what they are. They're posters with all Chinese characters, and because I don't know what they are, I'm not that keen to put them on there. And this is the best thing. Like, there's the empty box. This is like the perfect size camera bag for mobile photography, for all the crap that you take with you now.
Yeah.
Do you remember when mobile photography used to go, it's in my pocket, I could just do it all. And now you've got tripods, filters,
lenses, filters, cases. Yep.
It's not big enough for a DSLR, but it looks waterproof, like it's a rubberized sort of
it's sturdy. You could fit a couple of filters in there, a lens.
Pleather. You could probably put like your little mirror, your smaller mirrorless cameras in there. Like it's a good size. But anyway, I thought I'd share that with you because it's a good bit of kit. I wasn't expecting it.
It was very.
We gotta love new tech toys. Gotta love new photography.
Gotta love new tech toys, man. Yeah.
I actually recently made the purchase now. I've made the anamorphic jump. I like that idea, and I bought the anamorphic gold flare lens from Moment. I also got their case and lens filter adapters, and then I've got 2 new filters that just came in the mail yesterday from a company called Earth, URTH. One polarizer with an ND of 6 and then a ND of 9, a variable ND, which will be great for time lapse in the day.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
To bring my shutter speed down.
yeah. I think I'm pretty sure, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Earth is an Aussie company.
I'm pretty sure they are. They were pretty good. Like, the order, they said they plant a tree for it, whether they did or not. Who knows? Good on them.
I was using Earth filters for the GoPro. When I first started the channel, I was filming a lot of when I'd go out
They've got a lot.
Walk around. Yeah, there's heaps. And it's good quality. It's good quality glass. Yeah. The video that I totally screwed up, it's over there, is the Freewell one. That one.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually anamorphic. And this is one of about... See, we should have had this conversation before, Dale, because I've got about 5 of these things. And I could have sent it to you.
That's all good. That's all good.
I've got Ulanzi ones, Sandmark ones. I've got Reflex as well, which I would keep, and the Freewell one. And they all do the same thing. You would have had them. This one here has all the ND filters in it too.
Oh, cool.
It's very cool. Yeah, very cool. That's all I wanted to cover with you, mate. I don't have anything else to cover with you, but we should have a look at we should have a look at some photos from the group before we get out of here. I'll put this back on.
While you're pulling that up, I see a comment from Andy Green about the Latherington lock. He says it sounds like a wrestling maneuver.
It really does. Yeah. Oh, hold on. What's this? Samsung put a 500 max image uploading into other apps. Oh.
Could you not just do that again multiple times? Like upload, say you got 1,000, just do 2 of them and then just combine those 2 together at the end? I mean, I used to do that for like free trials. They'd have a limitation of so many images. You just have to do it in multiple pass.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Do a prize giveaway if you want to get rid of your stuff. Well, I've done that before, and it's the problem of where I live. For over to you, Dave, wouldn't be that big a deal, and certainly not to Dale, because you're both reasonably close. The last time I did a prize giveaway, it cost me so much money in postage, sending it all over the world. And one of them even came back. I think that was for Patrika, actually. He won a prize. And it was lenses. I think it was lenses. And I sent him some lenses. And I reckon that one lens in postage was like $80 odd Australian. And I sent that to him. And he didn't even get it. It came back like 2 months later. And I said, do you want me to send it to you again? Please say no. Please say no. It's costing me a bloody fortune. he's probably bad for that. He probably is. He probably is. Let's have a look at some of these photos. This was actually a question, and I'm glad I've seen this here now. So this fellow Darren was talking about doing long exposures. Let me just get rid of that comment. Dave, the post office banned him as well. That's the spirit. He'll be watching this later. Bastards. This is an interesting question. I'll be interested to see what you guys have to say about this. So what this fellow wants is a motion blur of the water, but still having people in the foreground. So this could be like a 3 or 4 second photo. How's he going to get the people still? I've got an idea how I would do it. I'm curious as to what you guys would think as well. It's not a simple process.
You could do the green screen and you could just do a double exposure.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to, that'd be the cleanest, the most time consuming and the cleanest way of doing it.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I don't think the humans are going to be able to stay still perfectly for 4 seconds, though. They're going to be blurry. It's just not going to work.
That's right. So with the wedding photography that I do, I'm kind of known for the astrophotography portrait. So having the couple in front of the Milky Way, and that's always a double exposure image. Always, to get the foreground and
impossible.
Yeah, it's always a double exposure, and it's always using the strobe light. I was in a speed light. Yeah. So even though I would shoot for 30 seconds or 25 seconds for the galactic core, for the people in it, though, I'm still shooting for like 2 or 3 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, and just popping a speed light at the time so that it freezes that motion. During daytime, though, you're not going to be able to get that. Here we go. See what Scott has to say. Set up the photo, shoot the people, move the people, shoot the background blend. That's the way I would do it. The double exposure. I can't think of any other way to do it. Can you, Greg?
This could be a bit of a cheesy way to do it, but do like Scott said, take a picture with the people in the foreground and then take them out and then shoot the long exposure with them in with the background. And then in iOS 16, go to the picture with the people on it, tap and hold on the people, copy them out and paste it onto the one with the background. I was just looking for some to try to do this while we were talking, but I don't have.
I wonder how clean that masking is. Like, I mean, it's still quite new. I haven't used it much.
If it's a good subject,
lighting or something,
the masking is phenomenal.
Oh wow!
If the people were taken at the same time as the waterfall, just two different photos, the lighting should be very good. You should be able to just do that.
I think it would probably or possibly struggle with the outline of her hair, especially.
It's not going to be 100% perfect, but it's going to be pretty good.
You could at least use that and then mask it in as a double exposure. Lightly mask around the hair.
When you do the people, do them as a portrait mode shot. But then you'll have to make sure the focal length of the other shot accompanying it's probably going to have to be done with the zoom.
So you need to take them definitely at the same time of day in the same app and have as close as possible to the same exposure with the lighting. It's just going to look funky if you don't do it that way. But the
and then you got to think of focus as well. I think the double exposure is better because then you've got a focus stack as well if you're going to do that, because you want both of them in focus, right?
Yeah.
So this poor bloke, Darren, I actually haven't seen him post in the group before. Maybe he has, I'm not sure. But the first question he comes here with, I'm sure it's not the solution he was looking for. I'm sure he was looking for, is there a simple way to do this? And we're like, yeah, do this. He's like, fuck.
You asked.
Yep. I love it. I like this one because
it's leading you. It's leading you into the sunset. It is a little crooked, but
and I know that it would just trigger Greg.
I don't know if it's that crooked because really, when you look at the light post right in the dead center of the frame, it looks like it's straight up and down.
I'm just looking at the sides of the picture in the sky. Like there's less sky on the left side than the right side, right?
Yeah, but there's buildings there.
And the other thing too is the stuff on the left side of the frame. If it's closer to you than the stuff on the right side of the frame, it's going to look like it's off kilter. But it's just because it's going off in the distance. You see that with landscape photos, like of a lake or something, and you got land closer to you on one side than it is on the other. It looks like it's off center, or it looks like it's tilted, but really it isn't.
Everything about this screws with it just breaks my brain. But the lines in the front kind of go this way, and then that way, and then this one goes.
I would take that. I'd take the arrow out. That the other yellow arrow is kind of. Yeah. I like the lines. I think they lead into the sunset, but that arrow is kind of putting me off. I'd mask that out and put ground back there on the left side of the image. Arrow, take that out.
This looks like it's from the same person. Maybe it is. It's a good sky, isn't it?
That's a great sky.
Looks like an Andy Green photo. Oh, it's a Dale Lotherington photo.
Oh,
it is.
That was actually just a live photo off I didn't have my tripod on me at all, so I just thought I'd take it while I go on a walk on the time lapse. Came out pretty well.
It did.
Yeah. Really nice watercolors.
I really thought that was an Andy photo.
I've done it. Finally.
You've made
it. Just try taking a screenshot. What's this say? It brings the waterfall with it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, see, it just depends on how it's taken, right?
Thanks, Carl. Look, it looks like a middle of summer there, mate. Holy moly!
Well, it's middle of summer Australia, but this has been a weird winter. We've had 3 feet of snow, and then it disappeared a few days later. Then we got another 3 feet of snow about a month later, and it disappeared. And now it's just starting to snow a little bit outside here now. So I don't know how much we're going to get, but
the summer here at the moment is crazy. Not today's Saturday, but the Saturday last week I shot a wedding, and where I take a lot of photos in this area is at an old sawmill. So we parked up the cars, walked into the sawmill, around the big old red gums and stuff that are there ready to get cut up, and it was hot. It was horribly hot. Got back to the cars, and everyone's car was reading above 50 degrees Celsius. It was crazy hot. So that's the ground. That's the heat coming from the ground, and it was just oppressive. I drank between 6 and 7 liters of water, and didn't pee once. Like it was just pouring out of me. The sweat was just crazy. And then was it yesterday morning or the morning before? I'm wearing a freaking
it's terrible cold.
A hoodie and a beanie and stuff. It's like, what the hell is going on here?
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
Yeah. When I took this one, it was about 0, maybe +1 or 2.
It's nice. What did you take that with? Probably reflex.
I was totally underprepared. We just picked up the dog from the groomers and wanted to take her for a quick walk somewhere before we went home. And this was at a place in town here called the Mill Dam. So behind me is actually the dam. It's a great big dam that water runs down. It's not really picturesque, but this little part over here that comes off the river above the dam and then does what you see here. It comes down and eventually runs into the river below the dam. I find it's always a little picturesque little place. If you look right at the top of the frame, you can see there's a cement wall with some graffiti on it. And on top of that, a railing. So I always try to, keep that out of the frame. And I had a little tripod about this big in the car, and I just put it down on the ground and aimed it out there. And this was with reflex. I did a couple with re-expose, but I think this one was reflex.
I wouldn't have even noticed that graffiti unless you pointed it out just then.
Yeah. It's more prevalent in the summertime when it's brighter, but
yeah, right. Watch me go find another one of your photos of you guys from you guys.
That's
kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's been putting a few of them up, and after they're done with the editing, it's really neat.
Yep. Yeah. This is what I love about this group. We've got so many good. Oh, there we go. There's the details.
Yeah.
This
Even longer. Yep.
Munningborough, Aikenvale. It sounds those names sound Australian. I have to go and see where that was, because we have weird town names here.
Yeah,
Aikenvale and Murringborough. It definitely sounds Aussie. Have to have a look at that. Dale's doing it right now. I can see him talking away.
Dave Podner sent
Queensland.
me a screenshot.
Queensland.
Queensland.
Yeah.
Dave Podner sent me a screenshot of the area that I live in, and he had a big circle around it. And some of the towns on the map were named after European cities or towns or whatever. And there's a great big area in Ontario, southern Ontario here, where a lot of towns are named after cities and towns over in the UK and Germany and all these different places. And he said something like, "Oh, have you done a tour of Europe?" or something like that. I have been to a few of them, yeah.
Here's something else here. Selfie preferred it. Selfie mode preferred even longer for stand, long exposure. Oh, Spectre.
It does
That
have a
might work.
handheld mode, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
It might work.
Say that again, Dale.
It has a handheld mode. I'm pretty sure Lightroom
Spectre is
also
handheld.
Mobile. Is it Lightroom Mobile also has a handheld? It used to. Is it Lightroom or Photoshop? It might have been one of them.
Sure.
Pretty sure it also had one.
That's a really good option, Spectre, because that is handheld. You can see it.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Thanks, Maurice. As soon as I saw this photo, I was like, "This is a pixel photo," because the really high blown out lights in the building and the galactic core. This is like a single shot from that. That's awesome. This is definitely the best camera on a phone for doing that sort of dynamic range in an astrophoto without any manipulation. Like, that's probably straight out of the camera, even, I would say. It's very cool. I keep on looking at these photos going, this is an Andy photo.
I know, right?
Photo. How cool's that? I want to light that sucker up. Strobe that building.
Yeah, that's neat.
Feature
without hitting the grass, though.
What's that?
Have the lights point up, baby.
Yeah, do it without hitting the grass.
Oh, you'd want to hit the grass around the front of it, I think, because it'll add that level of color. Not right to the bottom of the frame, but closer up to the ruins. But I think if it would end up having to be a composite, unless you wanted a star trail photo, which would work incredibly well as well. But what I do with this sort of thing, because it's usually in winter when I'm doing this, so I've got a big coat and I put my speed light or a torch up my sleeve, so it's inside the sleeve, so the sleeve acts like a snoot, and you paint it with that, so you don't actually turn up in the frame of the photo. The camera doesn't see you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's one of these things that it's the main difference between the YouTube stuff that I do and when I actually teach in person, because it's so hard to explain to someone on camera, this is how you do this, because it's freaking dark. It's just so hard to do, unless what I when I did that Star Trail one with Mount Hope with that big rock, because it was almost a full moon, I was able to set the cameras up so you could still see me. I just pumped the ISO like really high, so it might well end up doing something like that. But that's the sort of thing I would do to this photo here. Now that to me is just an awesome subject to photograph for doing what we do with the nighttime stuff. This has got to be Andy's. What do you reckon?
I say yes.
Yeah.
I should look at these comments. Lightroom does have a handheld. There you go. I did not know that.
Yeah, I saw it once and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
I
think it was a new feature at the time they just released. It was like a year or 2 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's kind of cool, isn't it? He does do
that
this
is
well.
really neat. It looks great in black and white.
Definitely. We'll do a couple more, then we'll sign off. Any that you guys want to look at? I feel like I want to address this because he's got it going on through all of them.
Fader overload. Getting a little heavy-handed.
Yeah, could be.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Dial it back down to 1%.
What's that? Oh, it's a plane, I would say, looking at the two dots.
Is it plane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that magenta cast.
I'm not sure if that's just one still image, like one long continuous exposure, or if you stack them. I'd assume it's one long
I'd
I
say it
exposure.
imagine
is.
it's one.
Yeah.
I have no idea what made the line across the star trails. You used even longer. You're using even longer.
Plane.
Your ISO is
Satellite.
bumped really. Yeah, I think it's a plane. I think it's a plane because I don't know if you can see them on there.
There's no little red dots or anything. Yeah.
But they're not red, but there's definitely two
Yeah.
lines and then a sequential
Yeah.
line through it all. So I'd say it's a plane, which is really bright. Maybe he's near an airport or something. Yeah. Any more? You call them out if you want to see them. These look so Aussie.
Yeah.
Actually, this guy, Greg Jane, it was funny. He did a photo. There was a series of photos he put in a post. I'm like, holy shit, that's Mount Hope, like just around the corner. I'm almost certain
saw
it
that.
is.
I saw that.
It was like this guy lives like just down the road, sort of thing. It's quite funny. So now every time I see photos of his, and I don't even realize it's him, and I'll go, I know that place. I know that place. Mario had a comment here. Okay. There you go. There you go. There's the speedboat versus the battleship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slow moving. Does that Scott Baker ever say anything nice?
He's getting a fair bit of snow right now, so maybe he's grumpy.
Yeah, right. He's probably got to go out and like, what does he do with fishing or something? Is his family got like? He's on the harbour.
Something to do with, something to do with fishing life or something.
Oh yes.
I'm not sure what. I can't remember.
Does the same rule apply on the trawler boats, Scott? Like what happens at sea stays at sea. Is that why you're grumpy?
Well, he did put.
This is me.
Aldrington's photo.
Excellent.
Look, have a go at this. He's like, oh my god, that photo's amazing.
Oh no, this was to comment on Mario. Mario said the format lock is on the way. So get ready for the what was it? The Lotherington lock.
Yeah. Your format lock is on its way.
I just realised there's people in this photo.
Yeah, so that was a double exposure. So I actually set up it's about hour 20 I shot for until I got bored and cold. I wanted to get inside. But people just walked past me. I think they didn't see me at all because I was in complete darkness. And they just walked past me, walking up. And I was like, oh, damn it. They're going to wreck my shot. Like, how long are they going to be up there for? They got their phones. And I'm like, But then I thought, that's kind of cool, actually. And they left like only 10 minutes. I was like, that's going to be awesome just to find one. It was about 3 seconds, so it'd be a bit blurry, but they stood still for long enough that I could kind of capture it. And I got their phones when they walked up on the left-hand side. I thought it looked good.
Yeah, right.
Little addition to it.
Well, it does look good. There's something that. So I was talking to Russell Brown, I don't know, 2 weeks ago maybe. When I did the Star Trail one with the big rocky outcrop, and he's done a few of them now on his. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I think it's like Dr. Brown on Instagram. I think his name is.
Yeah.
He's doing a few now using even longer, and what he does for pretty much all of it, he's the Adobe guy, and he's incredibly talented with Lightroom, with Photoshop, etc. Because that's what he does. But with this sort of photo, he will absolutely do a double exposure, and the foreground and the subject will be shot in the blue hour. So it's a little bit of light and then that's that part of the photo. Then set up for the astro or for the star trail photo afterwards, and it's just amazing. Like the detail that's in the foreground and the sky it's on point.
It's the best way.
Awesome.
It's the best way to do it. It's just time consuming. That's all.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very much.
Totally
doing
agree,
nothing
mate.
for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Absolutely. This here I'll touch on because it's how good is his name?
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker. Excellent. Perfect.
Don't worry about
know
the
a
photo.
John Walker.
How good is it the same one?
No.
I wanted to bring this up because the video that I've almost finished editing now, this will help a lot with that. I look at that photo and go, the sky looks good. There's Orion. And he's lit that car. Forget about the red for a minute, but I'd say he's lit that car from pretty much where the camera is. So almost, maybe a little bit to the side. And I would have lit this. So if I'm shooting from here, if this is where my camera is pointing it at you as the subject, I would go over here. And let me make that wider. Can we make that wider? Can. I would shoot one from over here, and then shoot one, then come around the back of the camera and hit it again with light from this side, so that it's not flat light like this photo. It looks flat.
Looks like it's more light from the left-hand side, kind of, and there's no light at the back of the car.
Yeah, I would. You
could put one in the car, going up, maybe even just a light up the car a bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back seat.
I would light that directly from the front of the car, and then go right around to the back corner and hit it again, but not from the angle that the camera's on, because it looks too flat. You get that more dimensional look about it when you light it from those angles. Because what will happen is where like the wheel arch, that little indicator, the rear view mirror, all that will cast a shadow, and it just gives you more depth to the photo. But the other thing, the main thing, is that red light. It's freaking garish. I love what he's trying to achieve here.
It's cool though.
It's way, way too bright.
Yeah.
And when I did that excavator photo, I had one of those little RGB lights like this. That's not an RGB light, but it's the same sort of thing as that, same sort of size, like a little LED light with a silicon diffuser on it. And I had it on 1% intensity, the lowest it could go before turning off. And I sat it on the chair in the excavator, and it looked like that. It looked like that red light. It's way too bright. What I found is that when you're using this sort of thing, if you can't see, if the light's on and you put it in the vehicle somewhere and you can't see that light with the naked eye, it's probably going to be perfect. It's
excellent.
It's only very small amount of light. Don't know what that was. There was a noise in my house somewhere. I guess Sarah's out of bed now. But this sort of light, what I ended up having to do with the tractor, with the excavator, it was sitting on the seat like this and putting light out. I ended up having to turn it upside down, putting all that out there so the light only came out the sides. Yeah. And that was more than enough to light up the cabin of what I was trying to achieve. So when it comes to this sort of lighting, less is so much more than what you think. What you may think.
Absolutely.
Hey Dale, what software do you use to fill up your stats?
Fill up my stats. Not too sure.
I'm not sure what you mean, Dave.
By that. Yeah.
If you're still here, Dave, I'm not...
to fill up the stars. Is that what you meant?
Oh, could be.
Well, maybe it's stars. Yeah.
The stars. I mean, all my astrophotography is edited in Luminar Neo, just because it has great. Cool, it was stars, yep. Just because it has great coloring tools, I find it, there's a filter called Super Contrast, and it's really, really good at just bringing every color back instantly and enhancing it. So, yeah. And it doesn't go overboard. You can easily go overboard with it as well.
That's kind of cool.
That is nice. I like
it's good use of empty space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd love to know where that was. That's really cool. Really cool. Anyway, that's enough of looking at these photos. Let's get out of here. So what's coming up for you, Greg?
Let's see. Nothing unusual really. I'm really going to try to get my first video done soon. Yeah, I just got to put some pictures together to show, I'll give you a bit of a spoiler. It's going to be about your options for shooting macro. So that's all I'll say about that. But, so I'm going to have pictures to show and things like that I've taken, and I've got to put some of them together and get a little more B-roll to shoot, and then hopefully should be done.
Cool.
And the book status, Scott's asking. I just emailed the publisher yesterday, trying to ask what the frig is going on with this thing. Like I finished writing it over 2 years ago, and it's really starting to piss me off. They're taking so damn long to get it out.
Do you need someone to swear at them? Do you need me to call them for you?
Could you?
Because I know how much you don't like swearing, but hey, it just rolls off my tongue.
I could do it if I needed to.
I know you can. You just don't do it on here.
See you next Tuesday.
Everyone's thinking, oh, Greg's such a nice guy. He doesn't swear. You don't know.
I don't like to. Let's put it that way.
What about you, Dale?
Just waiting for some new photo gear to get in. Can't wait to start using the filters. I'm still waiting on the back order. I think they're still on back order anyway for the moment. So hopefully soon they'll come. Get to start using them.
It's the post-COVID world, mate. Everything's on back order. It doesn't
Ridiculous.
matter what it is.
Dale, I just want to say, Dale, I really love on those time lapses when you are actually looking to the side and going around the corner or something like that. Those parts are freaking phenomenal. Those are
it is interesting. Like instead of going through like a road and looking sideways and going,
those are really, really cool.
I think I did one of a boat. It went so fast, but it came into shore, and I kind of used it as my fixated point. So my fixated point kept moving, but I also took a step forward, so it was kind of cool.
Yeah. You're breaking my brain right now.
It's interesting there. There's so many different ways you can use it, and I'm still exploring it, so I can't wait.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool as man. Looking forward to seeing more. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep, thanks, everybody.
See you in a couple of weeks. Catch you later.
Cheers.